Good afternoon, everyone. This is Robin Carter with Robin's Creations out of Flower Mound, Texas, and I'm here today to share my second set of alternates for the June 2022 paper pumpkin kit called Pick of the Crop. So if you missed my first video, check it out in my channel. And if you are already subscribed to my channel, I really appreciate it. Thank you and welcome back if you're here to join me for this alternate. If you are new to my channel, I would really appreciate if you would hit the subscribe button, and to be notified of when I post new videos, you can click the bell, which will give you a notification of when I have a new video. So let me tell you, I really love this paper pumpkin kit. I think they did a great job, and alternates have been challenging because I think they're great as they are. So I found some ways to add a little more interest to them. And so let me start with, I started with this card. And so I wanted to use both sides. I do like to cut them up and put them on a thicker card base. So I like to try to make an alternate with both sides. And so this is what I came up with. So this is pretty much like the kit. I just embellished it a little, and this is a new creation. So I thought I'd make these for you, and let's get started. I'll start with this kit and show you everything that's included. Let me get my little kit. I have all the supplies. Okay, so you'll need a card base, and I've already cut these in half. And I do notice that the picnic blanket, I guess that is not quite centered, but that doesn't bother me. I actually put it on this side. Okay, and then this is the large bread piece that was in our kit. And like most people, you know, it kind of looks like a sweet potato. So I thought it was a great idea to trim it down. So let's get our paper snips. And so we'll just kind of to round the edges, more like a French bread. So I just cut off the end in a circular motion. And then because we did cut off the end, it does look better to go ahead and trim the white border around it. You don't have to be real precise, and I'm even going to cut this end. Okay, don't be afraid to alter your stuff that comes in the kit to make it more like you like it. Get out this white piece, and then I'm going to work on making my bread a little nicer. I have to trim off some more. Okay, that looks better, and this has kind of got a sharp edge. Let's just round it a little bit. Okay, and then this one a little bit more. Okay, looks more like bread to me than a sweet potato now. So let me just clean up my space. I know last video was pretty messy, so I'm going to try to do a better job of keeping my workspace clean. Okay, so we have our bread, and then we're going to make our own basket, and I'll show you how I did that. We have the vellum piece that was part of the kit. Here's some pre-stamped fruit that I have. This is a circle from the layering circle set, and it's the third largest one, and I thought it would be a cute plate to put on the paper pumpkin blanket. I have the cheese, and I have a lemon, and I just looked that up. That is from it was an all-inclusive kit a couple of years ago called Simply Citrus. And again, this is not necessary if you just want to do more strawberries or blueberries in your kit. That would be fine. And then I do have the tag. And what I don't have is the flower piece. So let me dig out my kit and get those pieces out. Just when I thought I had everything ready, something was missing, of course. And I'm actually going to need 2 of those, but I'll get the other one out when we get to our next card. So, by the way, you have 8 of these. So if you want to make the alternates I've made here, including the blue base, you'll just be one short, and I'll show you some alternates you can use, or you can stamp your own with our stamp we received in our kit, but we'll worry about that later. Okay, so what I decided here was to put this up in the corner as well as the flower. Okay, and then I don't know if you can see this, but I kind of, when I glued it, I kind of puffed it up so it looked more dimensional, and I actually stuck a dimensional under the vellum underneath this tag so that it would stick up, be a little more rounded than flat. So let's start by gluing our card base down. And again, I like to use a thicker card base. Make sure you check your cards, and if one side is just a hair longer, I guess this one is, if you can kind of grab it, then make that your top, because you wouldn't want people to see the little hangover. I don't know if that shows from the front. All right, so I'm going to glue this, and I have my Tombow liquid glue in a fine tip needle. And by the way, this is my inexpensive holder. It's just a medicine bottle that I can keep my glue upside down to keep the glue towards the bottom. But of course, there it goes. So just get it started, and I just tap dots around. Okay. All right, so I wanted this on the further right side, and I guess I did not trim that. You know, things happen. So I thought I'd already trimmed it. It looks like I trimmed it to 5 3/8, but not 4 1/8. So I'm going to get a paper towel, wipe this off pretty quick, get my trimmer out, and I'm just going to trim this down to 4 1/8. I'm going to do it off the side where I won't cut my picnic blanket. Okay, that should be perfect. Whoops. All right, just knocked a few things off. If you've seen my craft room tour, you know that I have a layered desktop. I have one here on top and then one down just below on top of my Alex drawers, because the Alex drawers are pretty low and I like to stand when I craft. Okay, much better. Went on. Guess I hadn't, and I'll try not to wiggle the camera. I'm trying to be more aware of that, not make you dizzy. So again, I like to also spread the glue around. You can do it with your fingers or the bone folder, or you can turn it upside down and do it, whichever you like. Okay, so here's our pieces. Here's our card. So the first thing I did was put down my plate, and this is an optional. You could also have just a plain circle plate if you wanted. I thought the scalloped add a little bit of detail. So I glued that down. And I put it over to the side so that you could see it. Okay, so now let's do our fruit. So I'm going to use the same materials I used in my first video, which are these watercolor pencils. They're so economical and they're going to last you such a long time. These are a great addition to your kit. So for the blueberries, I did use Night of Navy. That's in the assortment 2-pack. And I already have one fussy cut, so I think I'll use that one. So I just go in circles, and I kind of do it to the side. And a tip I gave you last time with if you have to sharpen your pencil is don't try to get it to a fine point. This, the color in here is very soft, so it'd be pretty easy to break. Okay, so that's just colored, and we will add the blender pen to that in a minute, and it'll help smooth it out. And for this one, I'm going to use the Real Red, and it's in the original, the first one that came out. Now mine's getting close, but I think I'll get by at least one more strawberry. Okay, and I like to kind of round that up so that it goes up by the leaves. And then the leaves, I'm going to use the garden green because that coordinates with the kit, and that's in the assortment 2-pack. I like to store them kind of upside down, or when I look in, I can see the color. All right, we're just going to do our leaves. And I did stamp these in Memento Black, and I found so long as you let the Memento sit a while, it does fine with the blender pen. It doesn't bleed. All right, here's one blender pen. Here's my other one. So since I knew I was going to be coloring with the red a lot and the green a lot, I kind of dedicated those so I didn't have to clean it off each time. And then I have a yellow for my lemon, and I believe this is the blue. Let me test it on a piece of scratch paper, or scrap paper. I keep calling it scratch. I hope y'all finally hear something. Okay, yes, that looks blue. So here's what the blueberry looks before we add the blender pen. And again, if you work real quick, you can use the thin paper. You just can't go over it over and over and over, or your paper will start to peel. So there it is after the blender pen. It looks much more smooth. I've already done the lemon. So let me find my cap somewhere. There it is. And work on the green leaves. Oops, went off a little bit, but that's okay. And then I just love how the blender pen really makes it look so much smoother, or more smooth, I guess is the correct grammar for that. Okay, and then I do just need to fussy cut out the strawberry. It's pretty easy. Not lose my cheese die cut. I really like that we got some more fruit stamps in this kit. I did go searching for all the fruit I have. The only other thing I have is a watermelon from the kit. It was April 2021, called the Too Cool something like that kit. Okay, so now I wanted to work on the basket. So I've already cut this and used my embossing folder on it. And I do have the basket weave from years and years ago that I used on my last video. But I decided to go ahead and stick with the checks and dots. That one just retired, and I thought more of you may have this in your stash to work with. So I think it makes a cute basket, just like it is. So what I like to do is make it smaller, and I'm going to show you how I did that with my trimmer. So if you want them kind of even, I used my trimmer, and if you don't care that much and you can do it by hand, then all means. So let me see if I can show you what I'm going to do. So you have the track here where it's going to cut, and then I put one corner there, and then I put the tip just on this first 1/4 inch line. So that's how I did that. So I'm going to do that here. Tip in the corner, and then I'm going to cut that off. Okay, so now the next thing is to do the other side, and you just want to be sure that you're cutting it right. If you cut it like this, you'd have it, I mean, this is the correct way. If you put it up here, No, that one's right. Is this one wrong? Yes, this one. No, that one's right too. Ignore me. I don't know what I did one time, but I got them both going the same way rather than like that. That would do that. So I want to do this one up here. I wasn't out of my mind. That did happen. Okay, so now you're going to cut off more of the bottom. That's kind of a better way to look at it. And make sure your top is in your track. Am I still in video? No. Let me show you again. So the top is in the track where it's going to cut, and the bottom part is on the 1/4 inch mark. Okay, so there we should have an even basket. Again, you may just want to do that by hand. I'm not always good at doing stuff by hand, so I didn't do that. And then I have scrap crumb cake that I'm going to make for the top, and that's in my previous set. I have a long piece. As soon as I find it, here it is. I have a long piece that we'll use for both. Okay, I don't think I told you, but my basket to start out with was 2 inches by 1.5. So the top part, as you can see, is 2 inches. And maybe I need to zoom in a little bit more. Hopefully I keep it straight. And then my top, I made it 1.5 inches tall. So for the little piece to go across the top, I hope this trims it okay. Sometimes little pieces fray a little bit. I'm going to make it 2 1/8. Okay. I guess my blade was still sharp enough that way. Okay, and then to glue the top on, I like to put the glue on the basket, just at the very top. And then I can get my little strip and put it down. And to see if it's even, I kind of turn it over because I can see the line of the basket. You could go by your checks as well. And if you don't have an embossing folder, you could just cut the plain basket, maybe even just crumple it up in your hands to give it a little texture. That one looks a little taller. I must have done this one shorter. Let's see what this one is. That one's like 1 1/4. I think I had ended up cutting it off so it would sit in there better. So let me do that. Now I have to try to get it straight. That would be 1/4 inch off. That looks pretty good. Okay. I had these little checks to line that up. So correction for the basket, make it 1 1/4 inches tall, not 1 1/2 like I've done my previous ones. Okay, so we have our fruit. I'm going to put this on dimensionals. Grab some of those. There was an old one that I hadn't used up yet that I found. So my snips are somewhere. I use everything. I use the whole piece, and on bigger pieces, I cut them in half, just like this. So for the basket, I'm going to start by just putting the bottom on. Then I'm going to kind of line up my fruit where I want it to go. And I'm probably going to glue that down. Runaway lemon. And the blueberries. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to attach just the bottom half of the basket, and I'll add the top dimensional after I stick my fruit in because I don't want the dimensional to block where I'm going to put my fruit. And I don't want it hanging off the card. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit of Tombow to the back. Stick it in. Maybe down a little further. Lemon. And the blueberries. Okay, I didn't add that watermelon piece because it was a cut piece and it was kind of large for this. I really wanted to add it. I started off making an alternate that just used a little bread because I wasn't that impressed with it. But I didn't know where I would use this big bread, so I decided to pretty much go like the kit and just add a little pizzazz to it with the fruit basket. Okay, so now we have our bread that can go here. Our flowers, I guess they go underneath. And then the cheese. I am going to go ahead and glue the cheese down. It doesn't block anything. It was an awful big piece of cheese. I would have maybe liked it smaller, but it works. Okay, now my vellum is pretty long. So I think I cut 1/4 inch off. Yep, I have here cut off 1/2 inch from the bottom. So I need my trimmer one more time. I'm going to cut off 1/2 inch. You know, that might be good for a embossed sentiment if you did it in embossing powder on the vellum. So to help my vellum curve, I'm taking my bone folder. If you don't have a bone folder, you could use your watercolor pencils as well. But the bone folder does a great job. Okay, so I also wanted to add a little dimension to my bread. So I'm just going to glue it at the bottom to start with. And I'm going to put a dimensional in a minute on the top part. Same thing with the flower. I just want it not to hang off the card edge. Okay, now the tricky part was getting my linen thread around it. So what I did was I tied it using my bottle or my saving technique, and I'm trying to remember what size I used. I think it was my glue bottle. Oops, let me put the lid on it so it doesn't leak out. So to do this, I leave it on the spool. And let's see, I did tie a bow, so I need a little bit of extra ribbon. That's a lot of ribbon. Now that's better. This helps me get my bows tight as well versus tearing my paper. I've showed this before, but anyway, so I tie it on the bow, and then you can pull it off your bottle. You probably should have went with the other end. May have to undo that there. Okay, so it's still on my spool, so I haven't had to cut and fuss with a lot. And so then I'm just going to trim. Now I'm going to cut it off. So you have this loop in your bow, or not, whichever you prefer. And then all you decide is if you want it right in the middle, you cut it in the middle. I want this one a little to the left, so then I can trim it, and then you just have to remember which one is your tag. So I did find it was okay to stick this on with a glue dot. It held it fine. And I have a bunch somewhere. They only gave us a little bitty strip of those, but I'm using some that you'll collect if you've been a Paper Pumpkin subscriber for a while. So I put that over the top. And then, well, I didn't quite get it on the left-hand side, did I? Let me move it over. It's better. And then the same thing, I'm going to put a glue dot on top. And I'm going to put it, I don't know what's magic about the glue dots, but they don't show that bad underneath the vellum. Okay. Is that even? Maybe this one needs to come down. Especially if you put it in line with the vellum, your ribbon, it doesn't show. So I've curved that, and I want to stamp my sentiment. Did I not have my label out here? Well, I did use a different stamp set, and I'll show you which one it is. It was the host set that's in our last chance section called Expressions of Friendship. And I wanted this to be a generic card with like a hello, but I really liked that this said a sweet hello, kind of to go with fruit. So that's what I'm going to use, and I guess I'm going to have to get another label. That'll be easier. It'll probably show up as soon as at the end of the video. You dig in my stash here. Okay, so I used the green tag. And I used an old Stampin' Majig to get this in the right spot. But you could use your Stamparatus, just get it lined up. But for speed of the video, I'm going to use this. And I did use the Garden Green ink that coordinates with this kit. I know, I didn't put my labels on. Kind of lazy. You know, I moved that, didn't I? So let me do this again. That's good. I just really messed that up, didn't I? Okay, let me clean this off. Do it again. Let me get it going. Sweet little, there's 4 corners here, so still 1 to go. I was thinking this would be fast. I guess lining it up in the Stampin' Majig would have been good. Okay. Okay, well, I did that very close to the whole part. I should have punched that out first. It's still going to work. To jazz that up, you know what I'm going to do? To make it look like it was on purpose, I'm going to take my greenery piece here, get a piece of scrap paper so I can go off the edge. I'm going to ink that up and put that on there too. I like that actually. There are no mistakes in card making, I say. Always a place for embellishments or to make another alternate. Okay, so now the trick is to put this down on the card. I did put 2 in the bottom corner of glue dots. And like I said, the trick to putting these is to give it a little puff. You may want to puff more of your top than your bottom. You want to include your flowers in it. Okay, and then, like I said, I'm going to stick a dimensional going to use a mini one. You could cut a big one in half. And you're probably like, you didn't put your tag on there. Well, I cheat when I put my tags on. I just stick them on there. So I'm going to stick a dimensional down in. You know, I got to turn this around so I can see. Down in the stack, like that. Now I'm going to get a glue dot, put it right over the thread again, and I'm going to put one on the other side. Oops. And then before I stick it down, just going to push it in just a little bit. Makes it humpy. Is that a word? Humpy? You like that? Okay, and then like I said, I cheat when I do my labels. This one's going to be backwards, but that's okay. I'm going to use another glue. I've been using lots of glue dots this time, and I usually don't. So I just stick a glue dot on the back, on the hole. And then I am going to have this stick to the vellum so it doesn't move. So then I just slide it under and I put it where the bow is. And then I can tack it to the bow and like that. Okay, so we made an alternate from our alternate. I stamped the sentiment different, but I think it looks just the same. I wish my flowers stuck up a little more. I wonder if I can pull them. Probably not at this junction without ripping it. But I do like this one better where the flowers are sticking out more. Let me see if I can do surgery here, because I don't think I could cut that. Maybe I'll do that. I'm going to do surgery and cut. Where am I going to cut it? About where it comes out. Oh, I'm going to get it. If it tears, it's okay. Gentle, gentle. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to poke my flowers up more this time. I think they're pretty. And try to recut my sack. See, flatter here. Okay, so can you see that? It kind of puffs. Don't know if that shows well on the camera. If you, I think I want the bottom to stay down to look like a closed basket. So I'm gonna put another one there. Okay, so what do you think about that one? That took longer to make than I thought it would. So I think I like just doing the puffiness and adding the fruit basket like you're going on a picnic and you have some extra fruit here. Okay, so now to our next card. I'm going to clean up my space first. Try to keep it neater this time. Last time I had stuff all over the place. Okay, the next card I did was this card. And like I said, it's just the blue piece from your kit on this side. And so I have some new dies that I love from the new annual catalog, the Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. And it's called the split card dies. And I have them here. It comes in a set of 2. And I really like both of them. I could have done the second one with this die, but I kept it the same. I like that pattern for some reason for this layout. So let me get out my components for it. Okay, again, a card base. And I pre-cut that. Hopefully, yes, I trimmed it. That's good. And again, I've pre-embossed my basket. What I've put behind my label here is this new ribbon, and it is so, pretty, and you can stamp on it. It's called the Natural Finish ribbon, and I thought it went really well with this whole theme. So we will be putting that on there, and do have a flower in there. That's good. And then you'll use your fruit that's in your kit, the strawberries and blueberry that I didn't use on my other card, so I wanted to use them this time. I did want to color in the green leaves with my watercolor pencil again. I'm going to blend that in lightly. Okay. Now we're going to make our basket the same way we did our other one. So we'll get a second look at that. I'm going to save that in case I decide to make a label with it. All right, so the first one, it doesn't matter which way you go. Like I said, just remember your bottom is the part that sticks out. That'll help me remember. In the groove, in the 1/4 inch, not 1/4 of an inch. Oops, it moved. Hold it still. Let me do that again. Let's see. Well, now I have to do it with a pen, with my scissors. And of course, that's not very good. Okay, that looks better. So hold your basket still or it'll move. And then I should have a little strip of the crumb cake that I used on my previous card for the top. So I need to cut that. Let me see if this is still 2 inches after I, close enough. I'm going to do 2 1/8 here. Okay. Hopefully that's all our cutting. Last time I cut off screen, so this time I cut on screen. Let me know which one you prefer, to do it off screen or on screen or pre-done. And no one has replied to tell me what this greenery stamp is. I'm sure it has a name, what kind of greenery that is. So if you know, I'm interested in finding out. Okay, and again, I'm going to kind of look from the back, see if it's even. That looks even. Okay, now this one, I distressed the basket a little bit, and I used a sponge dauber and my crumb cake ink. You know what, maybe I will make this one not distressed, and you can tell me which one you like better. So I just took this and I went along the raised area of the basket and the top. So this one I'm going to leave plain. You let me know which one you like better. I could always go back in and add it. I'm going to do the same thing with dimensionals on my basket. Lots of spare dimensionals here. I'm just glad I found that big one. It came from a paper pumpkin kit long ago. Okay, now this one, I think I can stick them in the corner because it's all one piece. I decided not to add the lemon this time. For those of you that don't have the lemon. Okay. A lot of people use their pick tool to get this backing off, but I find my fingernails usually work the best. Or I just haven't practiced enough using the pick tool. Okay. So I want this here. You know what? I should glue this to my card base first. So this is where I really like my glue in this pine tip bottle. You could use an adhesive sheet when you cut this die. But I find there's enough room. I left enough room anyway, kind of intentional, so that I could glue it down. Let me check my card base. Yep, this side's a little bigger, just by a hair. I didn't lay that down straight. Oh, still not straight. Okay. Luckily, I didn't get so off that the glue is sticking out. So if you get glue, well, you can get it out. Now, I don't want to break my thing, but I do have this gum eraser. Just be gentle and wipe the glue. The other thing you do is you put your embellishment way over there to cover it up. Okay, now I want my fruit in the basket. Those are just, there's some retired embellishments that I put in there to weigh down my medicine bottle. So I want it really laying in there. So put it on its side. I think it filled up the basket more. And then I'm going to put this on there. Now, like I said, you're going to be one short. So another cute thing that I thought would be, this is from the Honeybee Home stamp set. Whoops, my fingers are sticky now. I think that looks cute, and I could always color it with the Highland Heather or Fresh Freesia to make it more like that color, but I thought the yellow went good as well. You could make your own using the stamp that we have. That's not it. And kind of go sideways. Or you could look through any other stamp sets you have and find something that works. So I'm going to use this again on this one. I'm just going to do it on its side. Okay, now to our sentiment. So I pre-stamped this and I kind of made it like that. I used basic gray ink and I stamped it, and then I cut the ends out using my lovely labels Pick-a-Punch, this side. And then I took my marker and I just took the very, very fine end and drew a line. And I, on purpose, didn't care if it went light and dark, because that's kind of what this label did. So I was happy enough with that, because you will run out of these labels. There's not quite enough. And I think I've said before, liquid glue and ribbon don't always work real well, so I like to use either glue dots or tape runner. I found some old snail adhesive I still have. So I'm just going to stick that in the center. Let me see if I can, it's hard to tell on my wood look mat. And over a little bit. Get my fingers in the way. And I'm okay if the ends end up fraying. I think it looks fine. Okay, so then I'm going to stick this whole thing up with dimensionals. Those of you that know me know that I love using dimensionals. So I just think it adds a lot of interest to your cards. Makes them look more homemade. Now, one thing I'm surprised I haven't done is added any bling. Just don't know that bling and my fruit go together. So we'll see. can never get that straight, can I? And then the lines of this grid thing help you get your whole thing up there straight. Okay, so that's my second alternate using this one card base. This card base. So we made this, and then we made the other one, which I set aside. Well, kept my area too clean, didn't I? Give me just a minute. Oh, goodness. Well, you know what? Oh, here it is. Someone say, hey, you stuck them up there. All right, so these are our other two. As I said, I did the label different. I like it hanging better that way. I may take that off and flip it over and add my own green. But for video sakes, I'm going to leave it like it is. So let me know how you like these alternates. Again, thank you for watching and being patient with me. I have some more ideas with the next card base that I'll be sharing soon. So if you are not subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. I'd love your comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.